Good day, everyone. My name is Rechell Cinas, and today I will discuss the legal aspects in tourism and hospitality, Chapter 8. For the objectives, we have to identify the laws affecting the accommodation sector, identify the rights of hotel guests, explain how quality and safety standards are maintained by hotels and similar establishments by meeting minimum requirements of the law. For the contents, we have the nature and description of the business, rules on the operation and management of resorts, accreditation of accommodation establishments by the Department of Trade or DOT, responsibilities of accommodation establishments, Natural Building Code of the Philippines, and building permit. For the introduction, the Philippine Medium-Term Development Plan 2001-04 identifies tourism as a key industry for economic growth. Study findings reveal the need to enhance the competitiveness of Philippine tourism to align with neighboring countries. Tourism competitiveness defined as the ability to deliver superior goods and services important to tourists. Assessment based on 8 criteria. We have price competitiveness, human resources, infrastructure, environment, then technology, then openness and social and human resource. Philippine tourism industry, and it's fascinating how it's considered as a key player in boosting our economy. So did you know that the government sees tourism as one of the industries that could really propel the country forward? But here's the thing, even though we have so much potential, there's still some catching up to do compared to our neighboring countries. So the study in tourism competitiveness, and it shows that the several factors at play like price competitiveness and infrastructure. It is great to say that we are doing well in some areas like human resources, development, and price competitiveness, but there's definitely room for improvement, especially in areas like infrastructures. And you know what's interesting, it is not just about those criteria. Other factors like peace and order situation in the country also play a big role in attracting tourists. That's probably why we've been seeing a steady increase in tourist arrivals here in the Philippines. The Department of Tourism even mentioned the need for more hotel rooms and accommodate the growing number of tourists. So as we look into the regulation and laws governing accommodation establishments, it is clear that there is a lot of potential for growth in the Philippine tourism industry. And by addressing these areas of improvement, we can really make a big impact and attract even more tourists to our beautiful country. Nature and description of the business. Business entities engaged in the operation of tourist accommodation establishments may be organized as a single proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation. A hotel, a building, edifice, or premises, or a completely independent part thereof which is used for the regular reception, accommodation, or lodging of travelers and tourists, and the provision of services incidental thereto for a fee. Resort in a place or places with pleasant environment and atmosphere conducive to comfort, healthful relaxation, and rest, offering food, sleeping accommodation, and recreational facilities to the public for a fee or remuneration. Tourist inn, a lodging establishment catering to transients which does not meet the minimum requirements of an economy hotel. We have also the apartheid, any building or edifice containing several independent and furnished or semi-furnished apartments regularly leased to tourists and travelers for dwelling in a more or less long-term basis and offering basic services to its tenants similar to hotels. This type of accommodation is sometimes called service apartments. We have also pension house, a private or family-operated tourist boarding house, tourist guest house, or tourist lodging house employing non-professional domestic helpers, regularly catering to tourists and travelers, containing several independent lettable rooms, providing common facilities such as toilets, bathrooms, showers, living and dining rooms, and or kitchen, and where a combination of board and lodging may be provided. Motorist hotel or motel. Any structure with several separate units primarily located along the highway with individual or common parking space at which motorists may obtain lodging and in some instances meals. Rules on the operation and management of resort. We have also the sanitation. Follow sanitation standards PD 856. Lifeguards and security. Employ certified lifeguards and provide adequate security. Medical services. Have a position on call or full-time basis with certified first aiders and necessary equipment. Safety measures. Play buoys for safe swimming. Avoid swimming after 10 p.m. and ensure proper lighting for night swimming. Warning signs. Post visible signs for hazards. Prohibited acts. No pets or animals in swimming areas. Prohibit ambulant vendors. No littering and avoid establishing resorts. Accreditation of accommodation establishments by the Department of Tourism. The purpose of it, the Department of Tourism accreditation enhances marketability. The application process, you can submit application form along with required documents. The required documents are the corporate documents, article of incorporation by laws, business name, certificate. Have the financial documents, income tax return, audited financial statements. Employee information, names, designation, nationalities, addresses, permits, mayor's permit, municipal license, additional documents as requested by the department. Now we have the responsibilities of accommodation establishments. Responsibilities of accommodation establishments. Duty to carefully select employees and meet customers' needs. Failure to do so implies negligence and violates obligations under the law. Legal liability. Negligence and obligation leads to liability for damages. Owners and managers are responsible for damages caused by their employees. Solidarity liability is imposed on both employees and establishments owners, operators for acts of negligence. So, when it comes to accommodation establishments like hotels, they have some pretty important responsibilities. It is not just about providing a place to stay. They also have to make sure they're looking out for their customers and employees. First off, accommodation establishments have to be really careful in selecting their employees. They need to make sure they're hiring people who are capable and trustworthy, because ultimately the action of their employees reflect on the establishment itself. If an employee messes up or causes harm to a customer, the establishment can be held responsible for it. Now, if something does go wrong and a customer gets hurt or experiences harm due to the negligence of an employee, the law says that the accommodation establishment can be held liable for damages. That means they might have to pay compensation to the customer for any harm or losses they suffered. You see, the law holds accommodation establishment accountable for the actions of their employees. If an employee is negligent, meaning they didn't take proper care or didn't do their job the way they were supposed to, it is presumed that the establishment was negligent too, because basically the responsibility falls on both the employee and the establishment. And here's the thing, if multiple employees were involved or if the negligence was on the part of the establishment itself, they can be held solidarily liable. That means they all share the responsibility for paying damages to the customers. So it is really important for accommodation establishment to exercise due diligence in hiring and supervising their employees, and to make sure they're always putting the safety and well-being of their customers first. National Building Code of the Philippines. The National Building Code of the Philippines, PD 1906, February 1977, was adopted in view of the country's accelerating economic and physical development coupled with urbanization and population growth. The National Building Code of the Philippines, NBCP, contains up-to-date and modern technical knowledge on building design, construction, use, occupancy, and maintenance. The General Design and Construction Requirements, Section 1201, General requirements. Building proposed for construction shall comply with all the regulations and specifications herein set forth governing quality, characteristics, and properties of materials, methods of design and construction, type of occupancy and classifications, all matters relative to the structural design of all buildings and other structures not provided for in this chapter shall conform with the provisions of the National Structural Code of the Philippines as adopted and promulgated by the Board of Civil Engineering pursuant to Republic Act No. 544 as amended to otherwise known as the Civil Engineering Law. Sanitation, Section 901 General Requirements, subject to the provision of Book 2 of the Civil Code of the Philippines on property ownership and its modification, all buildings hereafter erected, altered, remodeled, relocated, or repaired for human habitation shall be provided with adequate potable water supply, plumbing installation, and suitable wastewater treatment or disposal system, storm water drainage, pest and vermin control, noise abatement device, and such other measures required for the protection and promotion of health of persons occupying the premises and other living nearby. Registration of guests and occupants. Accommodation establishments are required to register guests and occupants. Hotel keepers are responsible for deposits made by travelers or guests. Liability extends to loss or damaged belongings including those in hotel annexes. Stipulations limiting the hotel keeper's liability are void. The liability of the hotel keepers shall extend to the following cases. Number 1, in case of the loss or injury is caused by his servants or employees as well as by strangers. Number 2, in case the loss or injury is caused by the act of a thief or robber without the use of arms and irresistible force. However, the hotel keeper shall not be liable in the following cases. Number 1, the loss or injury is caused by force majeure like flood, fire, robbery by force, or intimidation. Number 2, the loss is due to the acts of the guest, his family, servants, or visitors. DOT Memorandum Circular Number 2006-09 Series of 2006 Adoption of Safety and Security Measures in Hotels, Resorts, and other similar accommodation establishments. 1. Guests, visitors, and joiners shall be registered. The guest booking information sheets shall be properly accomplished and verified through valid official documents like passports, company ID, driver license, social security system, etc. 2. Efficient recording of information on vehicles, make or model, color, plate number, and name of taxicabs, ferrying tourist guests to and from the hotel shall be provided. So in conclusion, to enhance tourism competitiveness, Philippine accommodation establishments must comply with laws and regulations governing their operation, safety, and guest welfare. This includes adhering to sanitation standards, obtaining to accreditation, and registering guests by ensuring compliance establishments not only to fulfill legal obligations but also contribute to the sector's growth and enhance guest satisfaction and safety. So I think that would be all for the chapter 8. Thank you for listening and God bless.